Hi everyone again. I've decided to make another video for just to see how the SRIOV MAC-VLAN, and the last video it was with the network namespace, but now what I'm going to show today is how to actually use VRF, the Linux VRF, in place of the network namespace, and that pertains to the UPF. So our architecture remains the same. Nothing is changing in this architecture. The only thing that is changing is in this UPF. What we are doing is we want to separate the traffic so that since we have multiple default routes or default gateway. So there is an existing default gateway that Calico is currently using, and we don't want to touch that, but we want a different route just for the UEI people. So nothing changes there, but where the changes will be is inside the how the UPF is configured. So before we move on, let's quickly do the installation, and then to save time, so that I will allow this to be running in the background, and then we'll go through the helm chart to see what has changed. So going into what we have before, so we see this is the configuration for the UPF using network namespace. Now take note, we have over 17 or 18 lines here, and you agree with me that yeah, this is a bit there are a lot of steps, even though we were able to get the what we want working, but then we had to make a lot of steps. For instance, because we are adding the interfaces into another namespace, network namespace, we can see that we had to add the IPs again, and then we had to bring up the interfaces again. So an alternative for this is to actually make use of VRF. So making use of the VRF will require two changes. One, we will need to update our network attachment definition and actually create a separate one just for the UPF. So if you take note, for instance, the usual MACVLAN that we use, we can see that we only stop there at the IPAM type static. But by the time you come to the one that we are going to be using for the UPF, you see after the static, we are we are adding another step to this, which is the VRF plugin also. So what the VRF plugin does is that all the interfaces that will be created here, they will be applied to this VRF that we will specify. So I've already added this also to the values.yaml file. So you can see here that under the UPF, we have the VRF name, and then we are just giving it a name called, right? So, but if you go back here, so that's why we have it. So we need the network attachment definition for both the MACVLAN and also for the SRIOV plugin, right? I mean, for the host device plugin, which we are using in conjunction with the SRIOV device plugin. So here also, you see, I'm just adding the VRF to it. So what this means is that all this configuration we have here, by the time we come to look at how it will be, you can see this is just what we have now. So from over 18 lines, now we have, let's say, over 8 lines. So that's over a reduction of 10 lines. And you see here that everything is much cleaner, and it's much easier to follow. But the only thing that this requires is that you just need to do more work on the network attachment definition. So here you see all these steps remains almost the same. I mean, from year to year, actually from year to year, is your normal way of doing the Open5GS, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, without the IP tables masquerading option. So, but then where it now gets a bit different is, for instance, here the tunnel interface, we are setting the master to be the VRF now. Now, take note, we are not even creating the VRF ourselves. The VRF plugin will actually take care of it. So we will only refer to it before all these commands are run. Multus, in conjunction with the VRF plugin, would have created the VRF. And this is how you set an interface to a particular VRF. and then we'll bring up the interface. You can see here we don't need to like go into exec into the network namespace, and then you had the default route also for the what do you call it, for that VRF to point to the VPPN6 interface, and then the only exec we have to do is to actually run the run the Oppo5GS process and tell it to run it in this VRF. And once it runs in this VRF, then it's going to make use of from here. You can see here that I've added the VRF network attachment definition. So you see the N3, N4, and the N6 are all created inside that VRF. So that's the overview of it. And then if we go back to our shell, yeah, so we see that our pods are already running. So if we go into the check the logs of the UE, so we see also that the UE already has an interface. I mean, the tunnel interface is up. That means that everything should be okay. So just to confirm again, so then if we do the same test we did again, ping test to the internet, and we see that it still works. And then if we do a ping test all the way to the external test node, that's the 192.168.7.2, also that also works. So in essence, that's the difference between if you want to make use of the network namespace and the VRF. So mostly before the Linux VRF came, how we could do that was making use of the network namespace. So, but now that we have the VRF functionality added to Linux, then we can easily make use of it. So it's going to be a short video because, like I said, all the basics and the design choices that I've made, I've already discussed them in previous videos. So I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to click the subscribe button and give us a like, and also share with others that you think they may benefit from this video. Thank you.